What's happening, everybody?
Hey, Coach.
All right.
Coach, you had your new offense on display. Fair number of points. You had a lot of passing, some touchdown passes, some long runs. How'd you feel your new offense did?
It was fun to watch. There's some things that didn't go the way of the offense either. We had some sacks and some interceptions and those kinds of things that we certainly got to fix that. You can't do that and hope to win. But I was encouraged especially the way we ran the ball. I saw Miles up here, and I've been so impressed with him. He's really hit his stride this spring. I was a slot back in the old system, and what we're doing right now for him, this really suits him. And I thought he had some good runs tonight, but he's kind of been doing that all spring. So it was good to see the young quarterback DeWayne Coleman have such a good night. I thought he performed really well. And our guys they're still in the elementary stages of this. So they're learning and they're getting better. And I think there's been a real improvement from day one to practice number 15. But we still got a long way to go, Ken. But it's a start.
And as you said, DeWayne Coleman had a TD pass to Isaiah Alston early, and then one to Noah Short. I think Noah Short had 5 catches today. And then the great catch by Dakoda Wagner late in the game. How did you feel DeWayne did as progressing with his offense?
He was very poised, didn't panic, and that was something as we went through spring that we were just concerned about and talked to him about. And Cody Worley, our quarterback's coach, had really, I think, spent some time in the meeting room and talking with him about just not panicking and trying to desperately make a play all the time. I think he just tonight really showed some great improvement from where he was earlier this spring in that area, just to have some poise and play within the system and let the plays happen. So I thought he had a really good scrimmage tonight, and I called him out in front of the team at the end of the scrimmage just because he did such a nice job leading that group.
And Bryson Daily seemed to struggle early, but then the second half he had the touchdown to Dakoda Wagner. How did you feel Bryson did?
He did. He didn't have a great start to the scrimmage. That wasn't all his fault, but he had some throws that he didn't make that kind of threw away from the target. Maybe hurried a couple of throws. Had one that had an interception that got tipped. He tried to run the ball and realized that the hole was closing up on him and tried to make a throw late, and the guy tipped it and intercepted it, and just mistakes that you don't want him to make. But again, he's not a guy that's got tons and tons of experience playing college football. He's a great high school player, but he's played very limited snaps for us. So he's still learning, he's still improving, but I think he's got a lot of ability. He's a great leader, he's a tough runner, and I think he's gonna be a good quarterback for us.
And your defense reacting to the new offense, it was something different for them to play against. How do you think they did?
I think the defense has done a good job this spring. When you split the spring game like this, it's so interesting to look out there and see who's on the field. There's guys that have never played in a college game that are out there playing, and you got guys that started last year next to guys who were on the scout team last season. But I think the defense has had a good spring. Certainly, to be able to defend an offense that's a little more traditional, whatever traditional college football is now, or traditional football, traditional offense is, we look a lot more like everybody else than we ever have. And I think there's some positives in that. And we've become accustomed to spring practice being option offense and playing defense that defends that system, and we're trying to just take scout periods to really build our defense to get ready for all the other games. And so for this spring, I think it's been super positive for us to be able to do that on defense and get more defense in and get it on film. And obviously tonight offense hit some plays on the defense. So we're going to have to do a better job of not turning guys loose and getting behind us, which we did a couple of times tonight. But I thought we got some good pressure on the quarterback at times. And so it all starts with stopping the run. And if we can do that, then I think we'll have a chance to play good defense. And there were times that both sides did a good job of that tonight. And a couple times they let the ball pop out of there. I thought Miles did a really good job running the football, but he wasn't doing that all on his own either. There were some guys protecting and blocking and doing those things up front that allow him to be able to get those yards. So, we'll see. We're a work in progress, and I'm always glad to see plays being made on both sides of the ball and then not being one-sided, and I thought that's kind of the way it went tonight.
Thank you.
Jeff, coming out of 5 weeks of practice here, how do you feel about this new offense? Have the guys transitioned well, and are you more comfortable with it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm energized. I really look forward to being out there every day that we practice and just to see the improvements. It's new. It's a fresh start. It's something different, and our guys are enjoying it too. Our players really like it. The ball's being distributed to a lot of different guys on the team, and tight ends are catching passes, and wide receivers are catching passes and pitches, and there's just a lot of people doing a lot of different things to be able to get the ball in their hands, and so it's fun. And I think our guys are doing a really good job and working very hard at it to learn it. There's a learning curve involved, as there is with anything new, and we're not perfection yet, and perfection's hard to reach, but we can come a lot closer to it than we were tonight. We've been all spring, and I'm confident we will once we get through the summer and get through preseason camp, and I think we'll be a lot closer when we get ready to play.
Jeff, you've talked about how important running back depth is. Obviously, Tyson and Jacoby didn't play this spring, so tell me about the rest of the running back core. How valuable was this experience this spring, and are you feeling better about heading into August with this group?
I am. We had 4 running backs play tonight, so there's 13 running backs on our roster, and we had 4 of them play. So there's a lot of guys over there on the bench that have been injured. But Tyson Riley, Jacoby Buchanan, Tyrell Robinson, all those guys have made a lot of plays for us and played a lot of football, and it'll be nice when those guys are healthy and back in there, and we can really evaluate that group with those guys in the mix. And I like that group of guys we got. Hayden Reed was having a really good spring. He got hurt last weekend in the scrimmage and didn't practice the rest of this week and didn't play today, but I think he's a really good football player. Guys like Lucky Brooks, Jarrell Dixon, Markel Johnson, they all started the spring and were practicing this spring, and they just gotten hurt over the course of spring. But all of those guys did some good things and gave us some confidence that we were going to have a good room there. We just weren't able to finish healthy, but I thought the guys tonight, I mean, give those guys credit, the ones that played. They had to play every snap, and Miles had a great game, and Dakoda making that one-handed catch. It's fun to see those guys make some plays.
Similar question, how do you feel about the quarterback core heading into August?
We're not as deep there. We got really just Bryson Daily, who's played limited snaps. I thought DeWayne Coleman had a really good scrimmage tonight, but the first 14 days of the spring, I wouldn't have said that, hey, I think the guy's got a great chance to play and be in the mix right now. But tonight, just to get in that game situation and to see him respond the way he did, I thought he did a great job. So I feel a lot better about him. Alex Meredith was having a really good spring, hurt his shoulder, just throwing the ball, just strained it, and he came back around. He was throwing some skelly and stuff this week, but I still don't think it's 100%. But he's a guy that's a veteran player from an age standpoint, but he's got a great story. From Anderson, South Carolina, and came to our prep school, played at the prep school, had a really good year at the prep school, and then decided as a freshman he wasn't going to play. So he didn't play as a freshman and sophomore. Came back out as a junior. We played him at receiver on the scout team last year. And then with the depletion of the room with all those seniors, we had to move him to quarterback. And I'm probably as surprised as anybody how well he took to it and how well he played this spring. So I think he's a guy we can legitimately count on for depth and to be a player there for us. Zach Mundell got hurt in the days leading up to the Army-Navy game. We had moved him from quarterback, playing scout team quarterback, to slot back. Hurt in the days leading up to that game, and then re-injured his hamstring this spring. So I think he's going to be a guy that, if it's not a quarterback, he's going to help us somewhere. But I still think he can play quarterback for us. Just really quick, really good feet, just a different type of player than the other guys that are in that room. And then there's some freshmen that we're gonna have to find out about, and likely some of those freshmen are gonna have to come in and really get evaluated to see if they can get in the mix.
You got anything, Sal?
Yeah, Coach, as receiver-wise, we know about Isaiah Alston, but today we saw Noah Short, and he's made the transition from defense to offense, and we saw Taylor Saulsberry make some plays. Can you talk about those two guys' progress this spring and how you see them maybe progressing to the preseason?
Noah's had a really good spring. Taylor's freshman, and he's, as is Noah, but he's just taken a little longer to come around. He's got a great physical frame. He just got to put it all together, and it was good to see him make some plays today. But a guy, Liam Fortner, who's a freshman, I'm excited about him. Casey Reynolds, who's been kind of sharing time with lacrosse and football. In fact, he's in the car right now on his way down to Annapolis to play in that lacrosse game tomorrow. Cam Scher made a really nice catch. And Vache Danyon has had a really good spring. Though he's been hurt the last week, he's had a really good spring. And that's been encouraging to see a guy that's a senior come along like he has, and just the pride he takes in blocking and with the offense, those guys are getting a chance to touch the ball and make catches and make plays, and so I think we got a solid group there. And again, that's another position where when these freshmen come in the fall, because of the system, I think it's just a lot easier for a freshman to be able to play early. It's just not as complex. And the under center option is a great offense, but it's very complex. There's a lot to learn, and it's not an easy transition from a guy that's coming from a more traditional offense to our under center option as it will be coming from a traditional offense to what we're doing now. And so I think that's going to give maybe some of those freshman receivers a chance to compete and get in the mix.
You have anything, Rich? Anyone else? Go ahead, Ken.
Big picture. Did you accomplish what you wanted for a normal spring practice, and did you get the answers you wanted?
I think so. I do. Really, we wanted to get guys settled into a position. We made some position changes. I mentioned Noah Short moving from defense to offense. Guys on their units, offensive players, Miles Stewart moving to a running back position, a traditional running back position. Bo Kite, who had been playing running back, moving to tight end. AJ Williams doing the same. Some guys up front, offensive line, playing. We tried to train everybody on our team to play all 5 positions to really learn the offense, and it was really interesting to see kind of who fell into and found their stride at each one of those positions. So I think so. I mean, obviously to install the offense, we don't have the entire offense in. There's still a good bit we've got to put in, but purposefully we held back. I wanted to make sure that we got the base stuff in, something that we could build on, a foundation, and so I think from that standpoint we accomplished what we wanted to. I'm really encouraged by the attitude and the effort of our team. We had a lot more injuries than I hope we would have had, you know, stuff that they can recover from, hamstrings and, you know, bumps and bruises and those kinds of things. And we had a couple of injuries that unfortunately were a little more serious, and I always hate to see that, but it's football.
Miles said you guys were going at it pretty good, though, sometimes.
What's that?
Miles said your guys were going at it pretty good.
We were.
Tuesdays and stuff.
We were. We every day we were in pads. We spent a good bit of practice with scrimmage reps, and you know, it wasn't the whole thing wasn't a scrimmage, but we'd take 30, 35 minutes a day, where it was 11 on 11, and you know, so you know, a third of our practice where we're really getting a chance to see guys compete, play football, and that's what I like about the spring. I think in the spring you can do that. You can play really physical, and especially with the young guys, find out what they're going to do when they get in there, and there isn't a coach standing right there and giving them their assignment. They have to learn it. They got to get in there and execute, and you can coach off of film, and there's something powerful about a guy going in there and playing a snap of football, and then the next day you turn on the film and he has to watch himself and be evaluated and critique himself, and all his teammates are in there looking at him run this play. And so that's what's great about the technology we have, and so there's a lot of growth that's got to happen before we can really feel like we're going to have the kind of team to compete against anybody on the schedule we got. I mean, we got some work to do, but we made a lot of strides.
Awesome.
Good.
You good, Ken? You good?
Quick question. Matthew Adogi played a lot at right guard tonight. Brings a lot of size at 325. How is he fitting in the mix?
Matthew Adoge is a guy that went to our prep school. What an interesting story for him getting here anyway. But he got hurt at the prep school in the spring of his prep school year in the weight room. And he hasn't played football for 2 years. He didn't play as a freshman here. He didn't play as a sophomore last year. A little bit on the scout team. And frankly, in the other system, he was just not as good a fit as he is with what we're doing now. He's a big guy. He was probably too heavy to do what we were doing in the other system, and he just is really a great fit. He's an athletic kid for as big as he is, and he's had a really, really good spring. So I'm excited about seeing him take the next step here, and he hasn't cracked the starting lineup. I think there's just some guys that have played better this spring that if we were going to play tomorrow would probably start, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he can find himself in the mix there.
Sure. And what do you call the offense now? It's not really an option anymore. It's a little bit.
I don't know what you call it. I hope we're calling it a good offense and a fun offense and a productive offense next
Okay.
year. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Jeff.